We will be starting with our third session, the Global Frontier, Arbitration, Crypto and Compliance in Cross-Border FinTech. I would request everybody to please settle down. So we can have discussions after this session. I request everybody to please settle down. Thank you so much. We will start with our third session, which is going to revolve around arbitration, crypto compliance, and cross-border fintech. With this, I would like to invite our session chair, Manik Ahluwalia, Counsel Manik Ahluwalia Law Office. Manik Ahluwalia is a legal practitioner and counsel at Manik Ahluwalia Law Office. He specializes in advisory and litigation across diverse domains. His work is known for integrity and strong client-centric advocacy. Ms. Devna Arora, Deputy Head South Asia, Singapore International Arbitration Center, SIAC. She plays a key role in strengthening SIAC regional's presence and promoting international dispute resolution frameworks. Her work reflects expertise in arbitration, cross-border legal process, and institutional development. Dr. Sunil Kumar Agarwal, former Joint Director, National Security Council Secretariat, Advocate on Record, Supreme Court of India. He brings deep experience in national security, governance, and constitutional law. His work bridges legal policy and strategic domains with distinguished impact. Mr. Soham Shah, Senior Vice President, Business Development, Resolve 360. He drives partnership and market expansion strategies in the legal tech sector. His work is focused on modernizing dispute resolution through technology and innovation. Dr. Daksha Sharma, Assistant Professor, South Asian University. She specializes in legal research, academic scholarship, teaching. Her work contributes to shaping the next generation of legal and policy professionals. Mr. Ashu Bhatnagar, Senior Divisional Manager, Delhi Division LIC. His leadership reflects strong expertise in insurance, management, and public-facing financial services. May I now request Mr. Ahluwalia to please conduct the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Menon, for that wonderful introduction. And good afternoon to one and all present. Today we are here to have an interesting discussion in this third session on the topic of the global frontier, arbitration, crypto, and compliance in cross-border fintech. So, at present, we stand at a fascinating moment in history. Fintech transactions, whether in payments, wealth management, insurance, or digital assets, are, in a true sense, going absolutely borderless. But innovation accelerates our laws, compliance framework, and dispute resolution mechanism. Most of these sectors are already on the process of catching up, and the pace at which we are growing, they still have a lot of catching up to do. So, to discuss these issues, particularly with regard to cross-border arbitrations and fintech compliances, we have some of the most august leaders amongst us who are industry experts as well. Since the topic, starts with arbitration, I'd like to start the discussion with Devna, who, as Ruksar has pointed out, is the Deputy Head CIAC, one of the biggest institutes there is internationally for arbitration, cross-border arbitrations, and others. So Devna, I'll open this session by asking you one of the most basic problems which has already been, troubling the field, as to which attributes of SIAC arbitration uniquely position it to address and resolve disputes in the dynamic and fast-paced fintech landscape, as I just pointed out.
Thank you, Manik, and thank you, Ruksar, for that lovely warm welcome. Firstly, am I audible to everyone? Yeah, thank you. Since we have a mixed audience here, I believe it's not just lawyers, but we also have industry professionals and we have business stakeholders. So let me quickly introduce Singapore International Arbitration Center to you. SIAC is an independent, neutral, global arbitration arbitration institution, which provides case management services to the business community. Now, what is it really known for? It's known for its efficient, neutral, and enforceable dispute resolution services, which it carries out through a very important document, which is called the SIAC rules. Whether there are two Indian parties or there is an international party and Indian party, you can always incorporate these rules in your contract, and that is how they will govern you. So in short, this is about SIAC. Now moving on to the very relevant question that Manik has posed to me. What features of SIAC arbitration make it particularly suitable for resolving disputes in the fintech space? So I believe in the fintech space, time is the most valuable currency. Price will move in minutes, smart contracts will sort of self-execute themselves, and any delay can change the dispute landscape to a large extent. That is where the SIAC rules will come in handy because they focus on speed, clarity, and control. Now, just to give you key examples from the rules that we have, one of the most important mechanism that can help you if you're a general counsel and thinking about now a dispute has happened, what to do, would actually be the emergency arbitration, which is a much talked about provision, has been widely accepted now by Indian courts as well. So what really happens is that when a party needs an urgent interim relief, at the time when the tribunal has not even been constituted, you maybe want to preserve the asset which is in question, because as soon as you notify the other party, the first thing they'll do is to take away that asset. So you want to preserve your asset, you apply for emergency arbitration. Now, under the SIAC rules, an emergency arbitrator is appointed within 24 hours. I repeat myself 24 hours to say, because sometimes we know with the court systems, for days, our applications are in the registry struggling with objections. But on the other hand, the appointment happens within 24 hours. And the first order on your interim order, which will be called, is issued in a matter of 14 days. So this is very relevant from the fintech space perspective, because while there can be delays in traditional remedies, but tight timelines will help ensure preservation of assets in cases where there are fintech disputes. So that's where the first provision, which is emergency arbitration, I believe is very helpful. Second, very quickly, I can talk about two more provisions. One is the streamlined procedure. Now, what really happens in the streamlined procedure is that disputes below SGD 1 million, which would be about 6 crores in INR, are automatically go to this streamlined procedure route. What is the advantage that you get out of it? It's a sole arbitrator that is appointed. It's a document-based approach, and the arbitrator is again appointed in 3 days, and you get an award within 3 months. So what are we promising you here is basically time and efficiency. If you feel that your dispute is well suited, as a party, you're okay with a document-only approach, then you should definitely go for a procedure which helps you save so much time. I mean, 3 months is nothing in context of litigation. 3 months is when you get started in litigation. So from that perspective, yes. And then of course, you would say that some of my disputes wouldn't even fall in the 6 crore category. Then what do I do in that case? So in that scenario, there's also the expedited procedure, which covers disputes between 6 crores to 60 crores. So that's for slightly fairly big disputes, but then again, sometimes you don't need to go into full-fledged arbitration, and you can always stick to the expedited procedure, which will give you an award in 6 months. If you want hearings, there will be hearings basis what the tribunal feels and what you feel. You can always move an application. And the timeline, the upper cap of the timeline is 6 months. If there is an exception, then it is decided by the registrar basis what the circumstances. So I think these 2-3 procedures typically are very important from a fintech perspective, because this world is changing every day. So timelines are critical for you. And then there is another procedure called early dismissal. This is for weak and speculative claims. Now, I know to trouble another fintech company, I've just filed a claim, and the other company knows this. So what they'll do is that they'll go to the tribunal and say that this should be dismissed under your early dismissal procedure, where you only look at this issue and decide if it's manifestly within your jurisdiction or it's without merit completely. So that's decided in 45 days again. So I pointed out a lot of timelines to you, and you would wonder why. I'm insisting on these because these provide certainty in a volatile fintech market. So that is a full toolkit that someone who's looking at disputes would want to have in front of them when they're deciding which rules or if arbitration is something that they want should be applicable to them. So I think, Manik, that's the long and short of my answer.
Well, for my non-legal friends, this is the best way we can go ahead to get the relief that we want. Otherwise, you'll be stuck and stuck for long. So, Devna, just building up from what you said, there's been a constant growth in technology. There's a free flow of data everywhere, and there are cross-border digital transactions happening day in and day out. So, another peculiar question which arises is that the traditional seat of arbitration model,
Right.
which stands today, is it adequate for fintech disputes, or do you think we need a new framework for jurisdictional certainty in decentralized transactions, such as these crypto transactions or your other fintech transactions?
No, actually, that's a very relevant question, and I think my lawyer friends will be able to understand the implication of it more, but I'll try and simplify it as much as possible for everyone. So there are two relevant questions within this. Is the seat still a relevant concept in fintech disputes? And if yes, then where and how will this seat actually come in a decentralized environment? So the question that whether seat is really relevant, absolutely yes. For everyone's understanding, what a seat really does is that it decides what the procedural anchor of the arbitration is going to be. So it tells you which courts will have supervisory jurisdiction, which procedural laws will be applied, and once you have an award, which country will you enforce it in. So it becomes extremely relevant, and there is no doubt that seat remains one of the most important concepts in arbitration. Now, the question that comes in the fintech world is that there are so many transactions which are happening on nodes, in multiple places at the same time. Then how do these changes fit in the traditional model? Now, parties are not negotiating dispute resolution clauses as they would earlier, as you would do in a room. You would sit again with each other, negotiate a clause, put it in your contract. That's not happening. So you're interacting on a blockchain. So the seat must be decided upstream. Now, let me explain what I mean when I say seat must be decided upstream. This seat now today will become relevant from the point of view people who are engineers. They should practically be able to feed the seat in terms of codes in the smart contract. Now this seems very far-fetched, but frankly in our experience it has already started happening. Yeah. So there are, like, you will have to have it in, to simplify it, maybe when you in a click wrap agreement, if you're clicking I click, in that agreement, your seat has to be specified. In maybe a token issuance document, your seat has to be specified. And sometimes, of course, if you specified the institution and have made the blunder of not specifying the seat, then your institutional rules will take care of the seat, because there's going to be a default seat in the rules. So this approach, as I said, I've already seen in one of the cases where some platforms encoded a SIAC reference into the rules in a smart contract and specified that Singapore will be the seat. Or they could have said India could be the seat, because seat is a matter of preference only. So with a single line of code, what you've done is that you've made millions of users accountable for what their procedural home for their dispute is going to be. So that's in short, Manik, the answer to your question. Seat remains critical, but it will have to be decided at a more high level now.
So good news for my lawyer friends, we are still relevant. Okay, so see, now you've talked about emergency, we've talked about seat. These are the initial issues that we face in the arbitration. Now, I'd like a little thought of you on the aspect of awards. Right. So given the rapid rise of crypto and digital asset disputes, should arbitral awards in this sector continue to remain confidential? Or do you think there is a case for greater transparency through publication of awards to develop constant jurisprudence and strength market areas?
Yeah. No, that's a very relevant question, Manik, because the question of public access in arbitration proceeding is one that continues to attract diverse but very conflicting views. On one hand, confidentiality, frankly, has been regarded as the cornerstone of arbitration. I think for the longest time, as lawyers or even individuals who work in this field closely have been selling arbitration in the name of confidentiality. But of late, there has been this discussion that there is a growing recognition that transparency will have a very important role to play. Because sometimes there is public interest that is involved, especially in disputes which are, say, concerning states or state-owned entities. One might want to know for public accountability purposes that what the process looks like. So recognizing these differences and expectations that are coming in from various parties, my thought on this is that one must publish a decision, a ruling, an award of the tribunal only with the written agreement of all parties and with names and identifying details redacted. Because today, if you talk about the fintech space, your product is everything. You don't want those details to go out in public. So those, even if that award is being published, it has to be in a redacted form and only with the consent of that party. Now, I'll tell you something from personal experience. It is when your dispute is in question, then you are the biggest supporter of confidentiality. And when your competitor's dispute is in question, that is when you say that, oh, there should be transparency. So when it comes to the businesses on their own, they always prefer confidentiality, but they want to know more when it's other person's dispute so that they can learn from it. So that's our practical experience, and we always give party autonomy the most strength in arbitration. So till the time the parties don't tell us that they're okay with publishing, in written consent is taken from them, then we redact the awards, and that is only when they can be published. So that's the long and short of it.
Great. Thank you so much, Devna, for that interesting insight and input on international perspective of arbitration. And well, I guess there's still scope for us lawyers to continue, enjoy in the deepening fintech space.
Right.
And now let's focus. Given that we've discussed the international perspective, I'd like to discuss it on a more domestic or grassroots level. And Soham, this is where I'd like a little bit of your input on this. So ODR has moved from an alternate to a mainstream in fintech disputes. What innovations do you believe will define ODR 3.0 in the next 5 years? I'd love to hear your inputs on this.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for calling us mainstream. We don't hear that very often because we're still, so ADR, ODR, we're still alternative dispute resolution, right? But I think the question answers itself because that's where we want to go. We want alternative dispute resolution to become mainstream dispute resolution, right? To give you perspective and to give everybody in the audience a bit of perspective of what we do. So we do something very similar to what Devna spoke. We're an administrative institution that helps parties who have any kind of contractual commercial dispute to resolve it through arbitration or mediation, right? But I think our focus area is a little different, where we have focused on domestic disputes and on lower value disputes. So Devna spoke in crores, I'll speak in lakhs. Yeah. So all the disputes where the dispute value is in lakhs, earlier it was not viable for larger institutions like SEAC because of the framework that they have to get involved, right? That is where ODR institutions like Prisol 360 have come into the picture to democratize this, to provide a platform for lower value disputes as well, where these disputes can also go into arbitration. Today, perhaps every contract we sign in some shape or form has an arbitration clause, right? Because everybody knows that courts are not the right channel to go to for simple commercial disputes. But there was a challenge in implementing it. So when I visualize ODR 3.0, I visualize that anybody having a commercial dispute, which is even perhaps sub 25 lakhs, should have a forum to initiate arbitration in that dispute, which is a recognized forum. I see adoption across industries. So here we're talking about fintech, right? I believe the lending space, the lending industry has adopted arbitration very well, right? They use the tool the way it's meant to be used. And through ODR, they have adopted that for retail disputes as well. So your car loan, vehicle loan dispute, two-wheeler loan disputes also are being referred to arbitration and are being resolved through arbitration. But we haven't seen this in other industries. Say B2B SaaS companies, right? Mm-hmm. You have contracts that are not being respected, where you have a large number of customers, the contract value may be a few lakh rupees. Right. But there is no way to recover, right? So you're sending some legal notices and then you take a call that, okay, either I go and do a court case where I'm committing myself to a huge expense, or let me do nothing at all. I think arbitration is the third alternative, and that is the focus that in ODR 3.0, 5 years down the line, after notices, a default will be that, oh, this has to now go into arbitration through an ODR platform. That awareness is lacking today, and that's what we're working towards. Right? Third is to get the acceptance of mediation to solve commercial disputes. I think today, even the Mediation Act has come in, but still the acceptance of mediation is not very high, right? Because I think Indians need something enforceable. People feel that, oh, getting into a room, having a conversation and trying to solve something doesn't solve for anything. But we believe that's not true. Think about two business houses who have a reputation that they're concerned with and who are genuinely interested in solving a dispute, right? Are we, before getting into litigation, before sending out a harshly worded legal notice, are we able to propose that, okay, why don't we get into the room with an independent mediator and try to solve this, right? Try to solve this more amicably. And can two business-minded people come there, supported by their lawyers with the right advice, come to, sit in one room for a day and just hash it out and come to a mutually acceptable solution which contains damage? I think that's not happening today, but perhaps 3, 4, 5 years down the line in ODR 3.0, we see that happening. The third use case that I have in mind is for ombudsman frameworks. I think the insurance company has already come out with an internal insurance ombudsman framework, right? That is where ODR platforms can really come in and take the weight of executing, complying with this regulation and this dispute resolution away from the insurance company's hand, which anyways is dealing with hundreds of other regulations to keep complying with, right? SEBI has already done this through their Smart ODR framework, where we are one of the partners where securities market disputes are now referred to us. So SEBI has said that, okay, we are not getting into the adjudication. That's not our job. These guys do it well, so you do it. We'll just lay out timelines that, okay, in so and so days, you need to resolve this dispute and you need to come out with a solution which is in the interest of all the complainants and stakeholders. But they're not getting into doing it and executing it themselves. They're taking the support of platforms like us.
Wonderful. Just to add to the thought of mediation that you pointed out, I've been a proponent of mediation myself. In fact, I've been telling my clients to first try and have mediation before they go to court. But it's that thought process in their mind which says, ki, "Arey, ye to compromise ho gaya." It's not like we're winning something out of it. That thought of not winning is what's, not encouraging them to go to mediation as a first step. But that's an interesting insight. And as far as ombudsman is concerned, we have an industry expert here. I'll take his views when we go to him. The next question which I have is that, conventional litigation, as we all know, in fact, you don't need to be a lawyer to know that there's always been an issue of timelines. There's always that thought that once you're in court, there's no coming out of it anytime soon. And fintech companies have an expectation of, a rapid resolution, that they said we don't have the timeline or the bandwidth to continue to contest this. So the legal system, it has been sent up till the Supreme Court that it is at capacity. So what do you think, can ODR realistically bridge the gap of this timeline, the issue which has been faced by these fintech companies? Do you think that can be done?
Absolutely. So I think we're all about rapid resolution, right? Very similar to what Devna mentioned on timelines. I think our timelines also for the lower value disputes are 60 to 90 days for resolution, right? Today, you rightly said, the legal system is already at capacity. Lending disputes alone, and we see this very closely, can create 10 lakh disputes every month.
Wow.
That's the number it can add, right? Are our courts equipped to handle this? No. Should our courts be handling this? No. I think the answer to both is no. Commercial disputes should be resolved through alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. I think courts should be a last resort to go there. So I think that's where we are. For commercial low value disputes specifically, this is the perfect route. Again, to talk about SEBI and the Smart ODR concept, right? So securities markets disputes today, there is a timeline set out by SEBI that these ODR platforms need to provide complete resolution, including conciliation and arbitration within 60 days. And that is closely tracked by SEBI. We have to share audited reports where every dispute, the resolution timelines need to be clearly mentioned. And they have a simple escalation mechanism at their end where there's a beeper that goes off if any of the disputes is exceeding that time frame. This can only be achieved online and through ODR, where parties can connect asynchronously from the comfort of their own office and get resolution done in a much more speedy and effective manner. Arbitrators can be engaged meaningfully, where they may have 3-4 matters that they may be hearing in a day, right? Just from the comfort of their own office by just giving 2 hour slots to those particular matters. So yeah, and that's where we want to imagine a similar framework for all the other disputes that we have, right? Coming to one thing where people still feel that today we want to go to courts, that's enforceability. So I think that is where formal recognition is required for ODR institutions, and I think the ACI is yet to be formed. But once that comes in and that formal recognition is given, that will be important. And second is fast track execution for arbitral awards in courts. I think the courts need to put more emphasis on this fast tracking, this execution, where say, if an arbitrator is given an award, you need to attach the assets of the opposite party, some extreme action needs to be taken. Courts need to support it and fast track it. I can't get an award in 90 days and then go to court and wait 3 years for execution of that award.
You've just robbed me of my next question. This was supposed to be my next question to you. So just a little more insight if you can give. So my basic thing is that, as you rightly pointed out, that a 60-day timeline has been given. So when we as individuals, we are always in the hope of getting something more, right? So getting a 60-day award will not be sufficient for us. Every client wants that. I need the money coming out of that award as well. So how do ODR platforms, ensure enforceability of outcomes in domestic fintech disputes, especially when there is, parties operating in multiple jurisdictions? How do we ensure that enforceability takes place and that award is not merely a paper award, which usually is the case in most of these high-value arbitrations, especially in a country like India, which take years for them to get executed?
Sure. So that's the beauty of the Arbitration Act, right? There is a section in the Arbitration Act that provides for interim relief. So very similar to what Devna mentioned, that you're always scared that the moment you initiate a case, the opposite party, let's take an example of a four-wheeler vehicle loan that a bank may have given out, right? The borrower is not paying the EMI, he has the vehicle. The moment the bank initiates a case, the fear is that borrower go and sell the vehicle off and say that, boss, okay, the asset doesn't exist with me anymore, and cash out and still refuse to pay the bank from the proceeds. That is where there are interim reliefs that the Arbitration Act provides, which allow today banks to lawfully repossess these assets, keep them in their custody till the arbitrator does not come to a resolution. Similarly, the arbitrator in their awards can also grant the right to a bank to dispose of these assets. And the judiciary and the police machinery also support this, right? Which is where it becomes very easy for you to get some immediate relief on the dispute that you have referred. So I think that brings in some level of enforceability, if not all, right? For a lot of disputes where, say, if I was due some money and I could auction the vehicle and at least recover 80% of that money, right, I'm only stuck with 20% of the problem. Right. And I'm finishing that in 90 days, right? In 90 days, I'm able to solve 80% of my problem. So I think that is very significant in terms of enforceability. The other side of enforceability is around recognition, right? So today, I think all the lawyers in here would be aware that the Arbitration Act mentions the Arbitration Council of India, right, which has not been formed, unfortunately. Till that is not formed, there is no formal recognition that is being given to institutions like us, and courts are always questioning people who are using ODR. So it's still a gray area for them. So I think once that recognition comes into place, that is where all of these questions around legitimacy will stop. There will be trust in the process and in the institution, and which will automatically improve enforceability. Because today the other party always knows, oh, I'm always going to challenge that, this is not the right institution, or this is not a fair institution, and get away with it. Once you take that away from him, obviously their incentive to in fact even settle the dispute during arbitration which be much higher. And that's what we all want, right? We also all want settlements. We don't want judgments. So that's the goal.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Soham. That gives us an excellent insight as to how things are to go. And as you rightly pointed out, innovation also brings compliance challenges, particularly sectoral institutions, insurance being one of them. And we have an industry expert in the field of insurance with us. Sir, I would like to hear your view as, see, insurance companies today are also trying to adapt as much as possible to this fintech revolution. And they also today rely heavily on, digital onboarding, automated underwriting, cross-border insurance interactions. What are the compliance pressure points you see, emerging in this shift?
Thanks, Manik, for inviting us. Devna and Soham belong to the category of arbitration, and for them, we can be the clients. So, as far as the key pressures are concerned, insurance, every insurance company basically will have key compliance pressures revolving around three areas. We have three areas of concern. One is the KYC. Second is the AML regulations, and third is data privacy and security, because these are the three areas which an insurance industry, any insurance company has to take care of. KYC, as we know, now in digital era, if the person is not coming face to face or is not submitting any paper and it is through digital mode, it becomes a much more difficult task for an insurance company to establish that the person who is coming here is actually the real person. So, although we have gone into that area through Aadhaar,
Right.
OTP, biometric is one. We are also having video KYC ways and means of doing things. So, we are taking care of those areas through these ways. As far as ML is concerned, again, this is much more serious than even KYC, because this is anti-money laundering, and what is required is that whatever amount of premium we are getting from any source, we have to verify that the source is genuine. It is not any use for any terrorism or anything. So that we have to ensure. For that, although currently we are not having that much, we are getting some payments directly from bank accounts, but we are not using much of digital innovation in that. But once we get into that area of having a fintech company doing this for us, what we will have to require is that all the other systems will have to get integrated, automated, so that we have a runtime situation telling us whether the amount that we are getting from a particular person as premium is actually genuine and the source is being verified properly. So that is the other thing that we will have to take care of that. Data privacy and security, that is paramount for any insurance company. So that has to be taken care of. We get a lot of data, and to keep it safe, we have all those regulations in place that when we'll talk to LIC, I'll talk about it. As you said about reinsurance, that again, we are dealing with a third party. We are sending them some data, and on basis of that data, they are making some decisions on behalf of LIC. Now, there again, the data privacy is a major concern. We have to ensure that the data localization compliance is being maintained, the third-party risk is being maintained, and also the transparency of automated decision that is being taken, that transparency has to be there. Whatever decision they are taking on a particular case for covering the risk cover, that has to be taken care, so that if the same kind of person is applying again for the same insurance, we are able to give the same risk cover to him also. It should not be that one person is getting in and because of the system errors, the other also not getting. So these are the basic things that any insurance company currently will have to go through with these digital initiatives that we are taking.
Sir, you mentioned AML and data privacy. These two topics, slightly touch upon the concept of national security as well.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. I'll just take 2 minutes of thoughts of Dr. Agarwal on this issue. That what does he feel as to how these insurance companies and especially the issue that Bhatnagarji has talked about will have an effect on the national security aspect of this entire discussion. Just your 2 minutes of thoughts, sir.
Yeah, as we know this, we had categorized the critical sectors into different sectoral approaches. Insurance is one of that sector which is considered to be critical sector, and it is because it has got the financial angle and which is linked with the other critical sectors like banking, power, so many defense, all those things are there. So if some vulnerability exists, In fact, the audit of this LIC and all these insurance companies as mandatory under the regulatory authority. I think
Yes. IRDA, it's
yeah,
mandatory.
they have made it mandatory because that time we had worked out certain sort of guidelines for all the financial intermediaries on the financial sectors also in collaboration with RBI. So that time we had made this mandatory to have the audit compulsory at the annually, as well as to have a kind of a security measures which are mandatory also, including the best practices that need to follow in accordance with the ISO standards. So I think these are the, yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Agarwal. So Nagaji, building on what Dr. Agarwal has said, so how do institutions like LIC, manage these regulatory expectations around data localization, cybersecurity, third-party digital partners, given that there's a global increase in the fintech environment and institutions like LIC have to adopt with the growing tech base increasing?
LIC, for the last few years, have been going all out as far as digitalization concerned. And our prime area of concern is only data privacy, because we have a huge database. We have 25 crore of policy holders with us, and we have a huge database. So for us, taking care of data, having the compliance on them, that is foremost important. And because we are having so much data, we cannot allow anybody to breach it. Also, it also shows the trust that the customers have. So we have to take care of that. So all systems that we have in place for that, we have a robust cyber security system in place, which does not allow any breach. It has not happened so far. We have also tied up with a number of third-party digital partners, where we have used them for some online purchases that we can make. There are some, we have an Ananda app where an agent can go to a party and digitally only he can complete the policy online itself. It does not require any paperwork. And some back-end processes also we have done online. But for all these, we have a very robust system working behind it. And we ensure that whatever regulations are there, we are taking care of them. Also in future, I think a lot of things are going to change, because I think this digital era, everything is changing every minute. And we have to be very, very updated, sometimes even preempt it and try to ensure that we are there before that thing happens, or before anything we see. So I think LIC is already working on it, and in future I think LIC might leverage regulatory sandboxes or partnerships with other companies for this global fintech environment as and when it increases. So this is how LIC actually is looking at digital, because I think in another 1 year or 2 years or so, maybe all this paperwork may not be there at all. We will be totally on digital mode, and LIC itself is moving in that direction.
So being a customer of LIC, I can surely, say a sigh of relief that all the paperwork in my house will be reduced if nothing else.
No, now we are already sending the policy bonds through email.
Oh, wonderful.
So that will not be required. I think some integration with DigiLocker is also going on. Once that happens, I think the policy directly will go to your DigiLocker, so that will take care. So you will not get that policy bond, that 16, 15 pages that you get, and you have to keep care of.
Oh, wonderful. So, sir, just your last bit thoughts that you mentioned AML, you mentioned data privacy and everything. Crypto-based financial transactions are a reality these days. Sometimes even, the source of this asset which is coming your way is not known. So, from an insurer's perspective, do you believe that the current regulatory architecture is adequate to address these risks? Or do you think there's how far or how behind do you think we are right now to, be that robust?
From insurance perspective, current regulation frameworks, I don't think they provide much regulation for cryptos. It needs to be updated and addressed, because crypto-linked financial will bring some risks because they are volatile. And we also know we are not very sure about the money laundering aspect of it. So I think regulations will have to give clear instructions to the companies has to go about with it. And I think because there are two aspects with the crypto. One is the amount that is going to come to us, how it is going to come to us. We still do not know the valuation of cryptos. Every crypto will have a different valuation. So how to value that? And then if I am taking money through crypto, do I have to give it back in crypto? So I think that legal framework and all those things will have to be worked out by the regulator before we get into this. I think this will take time. This will, I think, take time. And we are not gone cross-border also. As far as insurance is concerned, it is still within LIC. We cannot do any insurance of outside of any company coming here and doing it. It is not there. I think once we move cross-border that way, maybe after that crypto can come in.
Sir, I don't know about the payments, but 30% tax is to be paid by both the parties, the one taking and the one receiving. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for that insight.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to go to a more academic discussion on this one. And Dr. Sharma, I'd like your thoughts on it as well. So, in cross-border fintech, we often talk about regulatory harmonization because, of course, multiple jurisdictions, multiple states involved. But global consensus still remains elusive on this. What structural barriers are preventing this harmonization aspect? What do you think is the issue we're all facing in this?
First of all, thank you for inviting me for this panel discussion, and congratulations to SCPC for organizing this program. And secondly, thank you for this wonderful, thought-provoking question. I must say, because when you talk about fintech, cross-border disputes and harmonization of the law, I think this topic really needs a lot of attention. Because we know that at the global level, we have jurisdictions like that of European Union and the US that are following that have the systems properly, and they are following this, these norms even more uniformly. For instance, like we have Rome Convention of 1980, from where we have derived all the important provisions for contractual dispute resolution. We have Rome 1 regulation for dispute settlement in the contractual framework. So keeping in mind, especially from the South Asian context, I do believe that there is a requirement to harmonize the legal systems and the legal norms in this regard. Secondly, I want to emphasize that when there is a lot of talk about sustainability and the digital environment, then why we are not having the legal provisions on those lines, and why we are not looking on the aspect of sustainability and dispute resolution. For example, like one of the eminent panelists here, Mr. Bhatnagar, mentioned that LIC has gone, has opted for digital approaches, and they are not sharing the documents only in the paper form, but also electronically. So in this context, I feel that this is a step towards sustainability and towards meeting sustainable development goals. So why still, this is not reflected in the legal provisions and different conventions that we still have. So in the panel, I can see that we have good representation from South Asia. On this context, I really want to urge the authorities, if we can have the legal norms and legal policies that are actually meeting the sustainability criteria for environmental protection. For that, there is certainly requirement of harmonization and codification of private international law that is still not there in South Asia. In the European context, we have seen that Rome Convention is doing quite well. Brussels Convention also, Brussels Regulation also has the norms that most of the EU member states are following, and they are bound to follow that. But, you know, in the South Asian context, I feel that this gap still exists, and till the time we are able to fill this gap, I think that, what our panelists mentioned, Soham and Devna, that dispute resolution is for meeting the efficacy, is for resolving the disputes in time-bound manner. So, you know, till the time we are able to fill this gap of codification that exists in South Asia, I think, you know, we will not be able to meet the goals of ADR as well as ODR. Thank you.
Ma'am, I've noticed very interestingly, you've pointed out on South Asian context quite a lot of times. Given the amount of congeniality we have with our neighbors, both left and right, do you think that will be an easy task to, you know, harmonize and make these codified laws applicable to this region, or will it remain in the contours of discussion itself?
Again, I thank you for this wonderful question, because when we talk about SARC and the functionality, I must say that we have the regional arrangements. For example, in dispute resolution also, we have SARC Arbitration Council that is doing extensive work at the regional level, and we must see that, you know, how we can mutually cooperate with each other so as to bring this dispute resolution mechanism in a channelized way. So even last year, we had conducted the study for increasing the efficiency of SARC Arbitration Council, and our study projected this thought that there is a requirement to be aligned with the international laws, and we have studied SIAC patterns also, that what norms are followed by SIAC, and to our utter surprise, we found that even our laws, that is that of SARCO, they are regionally aligned. And also, as far as the international conventions are concerned, we are aligned with those international norms also. So I think that at the regional level, such dispute resolution bodies should be promoted, not for the sake of one nation, but for the sake of the entire SARC region.
So there's still hope. Ma'am, another aspect that you discussed was the environment codification, and ESG is emerging as a non-negotiable requirement. So how do you evaluate the ESG risk in the fintech sector?
Okay, again, when we talk of environmental, socio governance, this is the question that, we really need to think of, because even in digital payments, or even in the data centers that one of the panelists mentioned, are we really looking at the energy concerns? Are we looking at, the carbon footprints that are generated? Do we have such legal mechanism to redress if any grievance exists in this domain? So I still feel that there are a lot of gaps that are required to be filled by way of policy formulations and by way of codification and harmonization of private international law. I think this is the biggest challenge for South Asia, as what I can see. And in 1972, we have seen that Stockholm Conference led to the sustainability debate. Sustainable development goals were talked about, and then it was followed by 1987 Brundtland report that again coined the term sustainable development. So it is not about meeting the needs of the present generation. It is also about meeting the needs of the future generation. So we need to have that harmony and balance when we are talking of fintech cross-border disputes and how we can resolve it, keeping in mind ESG criteria.
Thank you. Now, ma'am, from a purely academic standpoint, law has always evolved on the concept of theories. We've got different thinkers all throughout our history. You've given different jurisprudential theories as to the formulation and functioning of law. So, do you think that the existing legal theories adequately capture the decentralization of fintech ecosystems, or are we approaching a standpoint where you think new legal principles must evolve, or are the old theories enough to be built upon for further discussions on this topic?
Okay, I think that the question is academic, but the answer must not be academic because we are dealing with the practical considerations, and let me be very practical and pragmatic in this approach. So, as you have rightly pointed out, that there is a requirement to have the norms, and we need to see also that how the gap can be filled. Again, in law, we talk about legal theories, but no legal theory can give you the right answer for all the problems. So gone are the days when we were looking at the legal theory for centralization or decentralization. I think that now the governments are taking proactive measures for introducing good policy. In fact, I think 2-3 weeks before, policy with respect to AI governance was introduced by Ministry of Electronics and IT. And I think this is a very good step towards creating a clarity on artificial intelligence and law. Again, in these lines, when we talk about fintech, cross-border dispute resolution, private international law, and various policies and legal norms that exist, I believe that, we first should have the policies and the laws that are catering to the right mechanism of artificial intelligence also. Because artificial intelligence, explainable AI is good. But the black box AI is always a problematic question. So again, from policy considerations, we must think that how we can move to explainable AI, that is the white box AI, and how we can get the answers from various algorithms in a fair and transparent manner. And I think this would be a step towards dispute resolution in fair and effective manner. I hope that I answered your question.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much. Now, I'd like to talk to Dr. Agarwal on one of the most important aspects of fintech industry, which is the national security. As sir has also rightly just referred, that data privacy is of paramount, and then there's a lot of crypto assets also involved. So, sir, my question to you is that cross-border fintech transactions often intersect with cybersecurity, as we just discussed. What are the most underestimated security risks in their ecosystem, you believe, at present? Because, again, it is developing at a very rapid stage. By the time we figure out something is wrong, there's another issue which comes up. So what is as for you, one of the most underestimated aspects?
Before getting into the risk part, let us see how this fintech industry is linked with the implication for as far as the national security is concerned.
Please, sir.
In fact, as I mentioned also for the insurance sector, finance is one of the important critical information infrastructure, which is linked with as we know, the internet is indivisible. It is linked together. So anything, vulnerability in one sector will cause vulnerability in another sector also. And this has happened. We have seen number of incidents. We don't have to dwell much on that. But the thing is, all this fintech industry is linked with the critical CII, we say, critical information infrastructures. And whatever, for the non-implementation of the security measures or any sort of mistake on the part of any operator in the fintech industry, or any vulnerability with the network vulnerability, etc. You never know, a compromised, kind of a thing. It will have an impact. It will have an impact on the certain sectors like defense sector. All right, something like government sectors where the sensitive ministries are there, home ministry, etc. So there could be breaches that would cause the data breaches. Not only that, that would lead to the certain leakage of certain confidential informations which are detrimental to the national security. This is how this whole ecosystem of fintech is linked with the, so it is not isolated, working, because we know the internet works through the, as you know, the cables, internet cables are there,
Right.
transnational cables, undersea cables are there. So we have to keep that in mind. Now, how the risks which are, you said, which remains not very underestimated, sort of thing. There are a lot of risks which could be associated in the form of, as we are discussing about the money laundering, the one issue, and in the terror financing. Then we have this kind of radicalization. This money is trail in the crypto, basically. Currencies are used for arms smuggling, etc., narcotics trading, etc. So there are a number of risks, security risks. Then cybercrime also could be carried out, kind of a finance. Money could be routed through crypto system, because unless and until we have the secured blockchain system in place, it is difficult to have any kind of control especially in the dark web. You never know who are the operators. What we see, there are multiple layers in the internet also, So all these risks are associated, and that not only have the implication for the national security, but will have implication for the consumer, for the individuals also, because it is a whole chain. The transaction happens not through one network, one system only. Whatever vulnerable systems were affected would be compromised and would lead to losses at the individual level, at the company level, at the fintech level, and multiple other levels. So multiple modes are, levels are involved. So we have to keep in mind not only the security, from the security point of view, from the individual financial loss also. It's important for us to take measures, the necessary measures in accordance with the nation. We have the National Cyber Security Policy. We have to, that is, I think is to be updated now, but still we have that which prescribes certain, guidelines, certain measures which are mandatory to be taken. So all these issues are important, I think.
Right. So, sir, you say that, like insurance you pointed out, is a critical infrastructure, and there are other sectors which will get affected. So, it's safe to say that it will be a cross-sectoral vulnerability if there's any issue which arises with regard to national security. So, sir, then how do you suggest that the nations balance innovation with national security safeguard? Because there's a rapid growth in tech. Tomorrow, what tech is relevant today might go irrelevant tomorrow. A newer tech will bring bigger threats. So how do you balance the concept of national security with innovations?
Look, whenever there is an issue of vulnerability, security, always you need to balance with the safeguards, individual freedoms, as well as the security from the point of view of the law enforcement. All right, so we need to have a kind of a balance, and that could be done, in fact, through adopting a kind of a strategic regulatory approaches, rather than kind of a totally kind of a blacklisting, etc. We should have a kind of a regulatory mechanism wherein kind of some sort of measures which are mandated, something like security audit, something like the testing and certification of the components which are put into place, ecosystem, ICT ecosystem. All these are, some of these measures could be taken, and then regular reporting. Under this current system, any incident which happens has to be reported to the CERT. That is mandatory, but I don't know how many of the companies are following that. In fact, we have set up a kind of a, I think we have set up a kind of a FinCERT, which is working under the CERT, Computer Emergency Response Team. It's a sectoral CERT under this. So all the incidents have to be reported mandatorily to this FinCERT, which not only provides you kind of a mechanism to safeguard and to protect and to isolate the system from further kind of exposure to the vulnerability. It also gives you kind of a technical backup. They also do the audit. They also do the forensics also. So they help actually. So certain companies are not reporting, but I would advise them, though it's mandatory, but because of the fact that, many of the fintech companies, because of the reputations and the market, they don't want to identify with the incident and they don't report. But that is not in their interest. It is in the interest if they report it to the agencies, because actionable intelligence is very important, and the precautionary measures also could be taken. And further, we also have the National Cybersecurity Coordination System Center at place, which identifies the vulnerability at the national level. Not only at the sector level, we have the national level coordination center also. And I think all the, we are also planning to have now the sectoral certs also, insurance cert also is to be set up very soon, I think. It is to make all these alerts and monitoring mandatory. So any incident, if alert is generated, at least you have a time to kind of plug the gap, or time to escape the kind of a further kind of exposure to the vulnerability. So these things, I think, need to be promoted, encouraged, and recognized. And first thing is, immediately we have to follow the guidelines which are provided by the RBI. The sectoral regulators are also given certain guidelines which need to be followed. And all these, I think, are very important from the perspective of not only the safeguarding your own sector, but safeguarding the kind of national security in a longer run.
Right. So, sir, your view, just your thoughts on, do you suggest that India then should have a sectoral fintech compliance regulatory framework, or should it be a broader picture applicable to all the sectors at once, with each sector then having its own specialized frameworks? Just to, kind of reduce the kind of compliances which might be required, like a sectoral might require one, then the national might require another. So do you suggest that we have a broader sectoral compliance which is there for the entire country, or it should be more sectoral requirement based?
Look, what we have suggested is to have a kind of a sectoral approach. Definitely it has to be integrated with the national approach, which is at the national level, as I mentioned, it is the CERT in India, which is the ordinance charging body under the IT Act also. If you see the IT Act, it is the main body, nodal body as far as the incidents are concerned. And we also have the National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center. So they are the two agencies under this particular, I'm forgetting the section, which are the nodal agency as far as the cyber incidents in this country are concerned. But because of the kind of a complexity of the kind of ecosystem and the kind of a population or the density that we have, network density, we should have the sectoral, kind of institutions set up. And in the banking sector, I think RBI is doing pretty well.
Yes, sir.
There is in Hyderabad, there is an incident reporting center, which is taking care of, and NPCI, that is also doing, kind of as far as the UPI is concerned, that is, they are the one who are handling those things. So it is happening, but in other sector also, we should have kind of a sectoral institutions, mechanism in place in compliance with the national mechanism, definitely, yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for those wonderful insights. I've been informed that we're a little short of time, but we can still take like 2 questions from the audience if, okay, we already have 2 volunteers. Please, sir.
Thank you so much.
Very healthy discussions. Just one small, most of the time one question comes in my mind. Why most international arbitrations are only in Singapore, not in India? Is it due to delay in reporting, or the ordering, or linger on, or some thing is there? That is my first question. कोई बात नहीं, अभी और एक क्वेश्चन मेरा मैडम आपसे आता है. India does not have any AI specific comprehensive AI Act, okay, under like EU AI Act, which is required. But recently, announcement is there, but not yet formulated. This AI Safety Institute, AISI, they are going to formulate under India AI mission to standardize and this thing. You mentioned about the, Agarwal sir, you mentioned about the safety standards and testing of systems. AI is a tool. Is there any body, government body to certify that this is, the certification is there? AI tool must be, some certification should be there, or some ranking should be there, star ranking should be there. Yes, this is a certified and tested tools can be installed. Thank you.
So one person at a time, please. Devna, please start.
So happy to. Sir, thank you for your question, but
Really sorry to interrupt. We will be taking only 2 questions. Each person, only 1 question will be answered, not more than 1, please.
we could discuss this. This will be a lengthier discussion. So I guess the AI one can be taken up, and we can definitely have this
Yes,
conversation.
because of this, we will have more questions to answer. 1 person, 1 question.
Okay. Let me ask one question to Dr. Dakshina. You have discussed about GCC. I feel that it is a global control center. You have discussed about GCC. I thought it may be a global control center. Now I will ask.
ESG.
ESG.
Okay, then I am not asking a question. My question will be asked to Madam Devna.
Yeah, please tell me.
You have spoken about Singapore, sir, please. You have spoken about Singapore International Arbitration Center. As I understand that worldwide there are 160 countries which are coming under SAIC, and these rules are applicable. Now, instead of going detail, I will directly come to my question. Crypto and fintech markets change very fast, and hence there is a requirement that arbitration which is used to resolve disputes in crypto and fintech, they must be fast, flexible, and must also follow law and produce enforceable outcomes. My question starts now. How does SIAC make sure that arbitration can keep up with fast-moving crypto and fintech markets while still being legally sound and enforceable? I am asking only one question because they have already requested to ask only one question.
Sure. So, do you want to go ahead and then I can answer?
Okay. So the question is transferred to me. I think that arbitration is the right answer for resolution of disputes in a quick and time-bound manner. And with many bodies coming in South Asia, SIAC stands as a good example. In fact, while conducting studies for SARCO, we also looked at the SIAC model and witnessed that, they have good policies and frameworks for resolving quick disputes. So as what you have mentioned about fintech and crypto-related disputes, I believe that yes, a new new mechanism needs to be created, because as of now, as per the national legislations, for example, India is concerned, ADR has become time-bound, especially arbitration has become time-bound. But for these kind of new emerging areas, I think new timelines are required to be fixed. So we need policy revision and modification of the existing legislations in that sense. And in fact, there is a mention of emergency arbitral award. I think, we are also aligned with, the SIAC policies. In India also, emergency arbitral award has been, introduced in the legislation. Yeah. Thank you.
So just in 2 lines, I'm happy to answer the SIAC aspect of it. So as I mentioned, that our timelines are very stringent, and that's what works in our favor. So if you have crypto disputes where things are changing very rapidly, what you need is a very strong framework and imposition of those timelines. All laws set timelines. The question is which law makes sure that the timeline is being imposed. Our secretariat completely works only for this, just to make sure that whether it's India parties, whether it's international parties, you are getting what you need in a time-bound manner. So that's what's going to solve the problem in the long run.
I'll just add to what Dr. Sharma had said. There's an amendment being proposed in the Arbitration Act where emergency arbitration is being codified, And the Delhi Arbitration Center already has an emergency arbitration provision. So I think that ways we are pretty safeguarded when it comes to the timelines and urgencies. So I'll take one more question because, yes, sir.
Dr. Sunil Agrawal ji, during campaign of President Trump, he was promoting cryptocurrency. So he wants to have a parallel economy, or what is the person he has got in his mind?
Sir, as far as the Americans are concerned, they may be promoting their own policy, but in India, cryptocurrency is still not legalized in that sense. You know, still it is debatable, still it is going on. Yeah, but still we are not, it's not legal tender, you can say. Yeah, so it's still it's not a, somebody asked about the testing and this certification. There is an organization called STQC under the Ministry of IT. They are the one who are authorized to issue the mandatory, yes. Yeah.
Sir, again.
Before we get into parliamentary debates, I think.
That gentleman has been asking.
I think if I give more questions to come, Manik,
Sir, if
you will have to become
Yes,
the
sir,
speaker then.
please.
So one last question.
One last question. Please hand him over the mic if somebody can.
Can you please pass the mic, please?
Thank you. My question is regarding ESG and government policy and digitization. So as Asu sir said that we have now the all LIC policies under digitization. Ma'am was asking how ESG is compatible, and sir is saying that there should be an audit, Sunil sir is saying. So is there any policy which every company or a new startup who is going for a data privacy or data security for its customers, they should be given some rebate in taxation or something? Those who are ensuring that we are data privacy and complying or something.
I don't think so.
The only policy now they have the impaneled auditors have to undertake the audit, give the certificate, and then that will give a kind of a market edge. That is the incentive, I think.
I think that ends the question part. And before we conclude, I'll just take 30 minutes from all our esteemed speakers and have their view as to
30 seconds.
30 seconds. I'm so sorry.
Oh, Manik is still in the question answer zone.
Don't blame me. Don't blame me. I had
You didn't see the look in the room. Everyone was
That's
like,
why I
Manik is
also
taking another
interrupted
30
him and I
minutes.
said
I have no
30
problem.
seconds.
I can listen to that. I really have no problem. I can listen to all of them. So 30 seconds as to where do each one of you see, the fintech space heading in the upcoming, say, 5 or 10 years? So I'll start with you, Bhatnagarji. Where do you see it going?
I see it going, I think every 5 years is too long a time for me. I think in another 6 months down the line, maybe a lot of things, as far as our organization is concerned, you will see digital. We are moving into a totally paperless office. Everything will be on app. You will be able to do your policy servicing, buying, selling, surrendering, taking loan, everything online only. You will not be required to go to any office or find any office of LIC. I think this is where the things are going to move. Gen Z, they don't want to interact. They don't like to see our faces. So they are very happy with AI. Gen Z is sitting there. So, she may not be Gen Z, but this is how things are. So I think if any company has to move forward, I think they will have to take it up. Otherwise, maybe they will vanish. Thank you.
Before Devna, Soham, just an idea. The business developer in you should really tap to him. tap with him now. They see 6-month development, and you should take a jump on it as early as possible. Yeah, Devna.
No, I think I'll just take a minute. So, of course, it's a no-brainer that a lot of fintech disputes will increase. What I feel is going to be another change is jurisdiction will initially become a messier issue before it's fully sorted out. So that's my prediction for the next year, maybe. 5 years, well, in tech space it moves too quickly. You can't predict 5 years in one go. But yes, in the next 1.5 years, I do see the caseload increasing, and I do see a lot of issues coming up at the jurisdiction front.
So at the security level, yes.
Yeah, I see much more secure and safe that fintech sector, but still some issues like challenge like digital arrest which are emerging
Right.
that need to be plugged in.
So in 5 years, hopefully, what Manik said in the beginning, ADR alternative से MDR बन जाएगा, mainstream dispute resolution, hopefully.
So I would like to add, if fintech meets SDG requirements, then borders are bound to disappear and inclusions are bound to increase.
Thank you. Thank you, Manik, and thank you all the other speakers for a wonderful session. I would now invite Ms. Tarvinder Kaur to please present the memento to our speakers and moderate. Mr. Manik Ahluwalia, Council Manik Ahluwalia Law Office. I must say, Manik, you did a good job. Ms. Devna Arora, Deputy Head South Asia, Singapore International Arbitration, SIAC, and thank you for being a supporting partner as well. Dr. Sunil Kumar Agarwal, former Joint Director, National Security Council Secretariat, Advocate on Record, Supreme Court of India. Mr. Soham Shah, Senior Vice President, Business Development, Resolve 360. Thank you, sir, for being our knowledge partner. Mr. Ashu Bhatnagar, Senior Divisional Manager, Delhi Division, LIC. Thank you, sir, for being our insurance partner. Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Daksha Sharma, Assistant Professor, South Asian University. May I now request the panel for the group photo, please?
There's one more report. There's one more report. Dhanalakshmi S. Krishna. Session 1 में थी, 1 में. Dhanalakshmi.
Thank you. We have one more memento to present, Dr. Dhan Lakshmi. Ma'am, please can I have you on the stage? Ma'am was supposed to come for session 1, but due to some flight delay, I think ma'am was late. अभी तू बैठ जा हाँ आप वोट ऑफ थैंक्स
एक वोट ऑफ थैंक्स स्पॉन्सर
हाँ हाँ Yeah. Very quickly, we will just proceed towards our valedictory session. Dr. Yashpal had requested So I'll give you just 2 minutes, sir. Yes, 2 minutes. I would request everybody to please settle down. A matter of 15 minutes, please. Yes, sir.
15 minutes.
No, 2 minutes to you and 15 minutes for the valedictory session, sir.
Once again, thank you very much on behalf of the participants and audience. Because, सर जी थोड़ा सुन लीजिए, डॉक्टर साहब थोड़ा सा सुन लीजिए, 2 मिनट बाद मैं नहीं बोलूँगा, आप लोग बैठ जाएं प्लीज़. हाँ, जरा ज़्यादा लिटरेरी होगा, सुन ले प्लीज़. सर उधर वाले भी बैठ जाएं. हाँ, डॉक्टर साहब बैठ जाएं प्लीज़. थैंक यू. सो वी हैव ए वेरी गुड सेशन सिंस मॉर्निंग. इतना अच्छा सेशन आपने किया, आपने KYC लिया, आपने ट्रस्ट एंड ट्रांसपेरेंसी लिया, बहुत अच्छा सेशन था. मैडम धर्मेंद्र मैडम, चंद्रेश सर, सुधीर सर अरेंज द वंडरफुल प्रोग्राम. हैव वीकेंड फॉर देम. ताली बजाएं, बड़ी कोताही कर रहे हैं आप. एंड थैंक यू टू our gentleman who was giving none other than he was asking the question only. Thanks to him. Though he wanted, he was doing, he was picking a trick, then bringing 4 questions in one bundle. But Rukhsar gestured and said only one, sir. Not more than that. So he even left one also. Anyhow, मैं दे दूंगा, बैठो बैठो. So topics were shaped up in such a way. In the morning, that's what KYC, and then law. After tea, you have a little lighter mood. But when lighter mood came little bit upper, then law also. Law is a big bundle. So thereafter, lunch, and then third session. This was also very nice. And thanks a lot. Hoping that you will arrange this program next time also, Madam Dharmendra Kaur, please. Kaur Madam, you will arrange this program, or you will. I am coming to them. You will repeat the same speaker. ताली तो बजा दीजिए, वही बजा रहे हैं जो स्पीकर नहीं बने थे बेचारे. क्योंकि आज मन भरा नहीं, हमारी एक कहावत है, ये दिल मांगे मोर. और कई दिनों की मेहनत के बाद रुखसार जी, मैं इन लोगों को देखता रहा, कभी इधर फोन कर रहे हैं, कभी उधर फोन कर रहे हैं, फिर वो कह रहा मैं नहीं आ रहा. अब क्या होगा? They have this gesture. Anyhow, रुखसार जी, उदेश जी, पप्पू जी और आदित्य जी और खान साहब. कहाँ हैं खान साहब? खान साहब कहाँ गए? खान साहब वो खड़े हैं. हाँ, नहीं ऐसे जैसे ट्यून देते सलमान खान, अमजद खान, है ना? क्यों? अमजद खान के लिहाज में तो अमजद खान. चलिए, they have done best of their potential. God give them the courage, and they must do on. Here I remember the lines of Robert Frost. Robert Frost ने लिखा है, इन बच्चों के लिए बोल रहा हूँ. Woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. इनके यंग एज में अगर ये कर रहे हैं, इनके लिए एक बार जोरदार तालियां. क्योंकि मैथिली शरण गुप्त ने भी वहां लिखा कि अब ना यदि कुछ कर सके तो यह है हमारी भूल है, अनुकूल अवसर की उपेक्षा हूलती फिर शूल है. ये इन बच्चों के लिए है. और आखिर में केवल एक ही बात कहूँगा. बहुत चर्चा हुई कि साइबर के लिए क्या हो, आईटी के लिए क्या हो. आईटी बेचारा साइबर का बोझ ढोते बुढ़ा हो गया है. 20 साल से 25 साल से 2000 में बना था और उसके पास और कोई चारा नहीं है. कभी वो 66 घुमाता है, कभी 69 घुमाता है, कभी बाजी.com लेता है, कभी श्रेया सिंघाल लेता है. वो ऐसे ऐसे घूमता रहता है. लेकिन मैंने केवल 2 लाइनें लिखी हैं, आखिर में आपको पढ़ के सुनाता हूँ. कुछ और तो नहीं लिखा हो, भूल तो नहीं? नहीं, कुछ नहीं भूला हूँ मैं. तो वो लाइन क्या है? क्योंकि टॉपिक हमें दिया गया था ट्रस्ट एंड ट्रांसपेरेंसी. ट्रस्ट को हिंदी में कहते हैं विश्वास और ट्रांसपेरेंसी को कहते हैं पारदर्शिता. लेकिन मैंने एक हिंदी एक अंग्रेजी का वर्ड ले लिया है. वो मेरे विश्वास को भंग न कर पाया. अगर मैं सतर्क हूं
तो कोई साइबर अटैकर मेरे विश्वास को भंग नहीं कर सकता। वो मेरे विश्वास को भंग ना कर पाया जब मैंने उसके पटल पर, उसके मन पटल पर ट्रांसपेरेंसी का पाठ पढ़ाया। क्रॉस बॉर्डर, बहुत चर्चा थी अभी क्रॉस बॉर्डर की। क्रॉस बॉर्डर और बॉर्डर के अंदर, क्रॉस बॉर्डर और बॉर्डर के अंदर सभी मसले अब ठीक हो जाएंगे जब हम एक नया साइबर एक्ट लाएंगे। थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir. No doubt you are very well known for your lectures. Now I would like to invite Chandranshu Avasthi, sir, Senior Director, SCPC, for vote of thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. I would just like to keep it very brief. Sir ने already सब कुछ cover कर ही दिया है. So we had a very wonderful session. Lots of opportunities and challenges were discussed at a great length. Now it's time to conclude this wonderful session. All three sessions were really wonderful. Very interesting topics they were. Everything was managed by all young team. Okay, so now it's time to take the name of the people, those who were actually working behind this entire effort. Entire SCPC team, they worked real tirelessly. I would like to give thanks to Dr. Tarvinder Kaur, Rukhsar, Digambar, Deshraj. They both are working behind the scene. And my special thanks is dedicated to Udesh, Pappu, Aditya, and Ayush. Ayush could not join us because of some personal issues. These four people, they conceptualized the entire event. And I just want to thank everyone for being here. Thank you.
I would like to say that we have 4 awards for our team. That is a surprise act. And I would like you to present those awards to our teammates. Okay. The first award that we have is for our director, Ms. Tavinder Kaur ma'am, who has really helped us a lot and was the backbone of our team for always providing us with the emergency contacts and bringing all the people for us. Thank you so much, ma'am. Sir, please, I would like Chandranshu sir to please give the award to Dr. Tavinder Kaur.
This is funny.
All three of you should give us a vote.
The second award we have for our wonderful MC for the event, Ms. Rukhsar Memon. Thank you, ma'am, for helping us. Our Assistant Director IT, Mr. Digambar Sharma sir. Thank you so much, sir, for helping us with so much and providing us with everything that we needed. Thank you so much, sir. And last but not the least, the man who is always ready with all the supply chains and all the hacks, Mr. Deshraj sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
See, I would say this is a very big act of surprise, gifting ourselves. We are honoring ourselves in front of others. But it's something unique only this young generation could think of. So वो last seat नहीं है. Digambar and Deshraj are 2 people. Without them, no event in SCPC is possible. These 2 people are the backbone.
They are the heart. वो बस दिखते नहीं हैं, but पीछे पीछे सारा काम वही कर रहे होते हैं.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. We request everyone to proceed for high tea. And I would request Team SCPC to come forward for the group photo.
Team SCPC will take a photo together.
सर मेरे को लगता है आप गलत प्रोफेशन में हैं. आपको शेर और शायरी में होना चाहिए था. सर मेरे को लगता है आपको शेर और शायरी में ज़्यादा होना चाहिए था. आप गलत प्रोफेशन में हैं.